for? Thank you. So this is the big day that we've been waiting for as MCRD. We want to celebrate the 10 years anniversary for the movement for community-led development. So right here is Yewo Gondwe. I'm the Southern Africa Regional Coordinator. I'll be your host this afternoon, and you're welcome. Feel free. This is a platform for us to hear community perspectives on how MCRD has been fostering self-reliance in the Southern Africa region as we are celebrating our anniversary. So today I'll be co-facilitating with my colleague. Let me just invite Jacob to introduce himself.
Thank you very much, Yewo. Colleagues, my name is Jacob Pili. I am from Malawi. I will be your co-host today. Looking forward to having a productive conversations with everyone. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Jacob. So with the time that we have, we'll not have enough time to hear from everyone. So I would request you to use the chat box to introduce yourself. Just share with us your name, your organization, and how you're feeling today. Are you excited? Are you sad? Just share us how you're feeling using the chat box, as well as you should also just tell us the country where you're coming from. So let's use this chat box to introduce ourselves. Please go ahead, feel free to type. So we just want to know who is in the room. So we are using this time to introduce ourselves using the chat box. Please tell us your name, your organization, the country you're representing, as well as how you're feeling this afternoon or whether morning, depending on where you're coming from. Thank you. Great. Welcome from Malawi, Armenia, US, Kenya. I'm very excited. Indonesia, welcome. Wow. Malawi, welcome, welcome, welcome. Benin, the house, welcome. I see Zambia is also in the building, in the house. Welcome. Yeah. Yeah, US, a big fan of MCLD. You're welcome. Malawi. All right. Let's keep on introducing ourselves. I see Co-Africa here. Yeah, welcome our partners and friends. All right, at this point, let me just request Sarah to share with us the agenda so that I just run through the agenda. So right now we were introducing ourselves using the chat box, and that's part of our agenda, just to know who is in the meeting, but also where you're coming from. And then we have a keynote address, which will be presented by the Global Secretary for the Movement for Community-Led Development, so that she gives a background of MCRD, where we're coming from to date. And then we'll have a panel discussion. We have a panelist here of 5 speakers who will be speaking from Zimbabwe, from Zambia, Malawi, Mozambique, who will be sharing their experiences as community-based organizations, but also advocates for community-led development. And then after that panel, we'll have our national coordinators for national associations that are well established, Malawi and Zambia, who will be sharing their key achievements, what they have done in the years in terms of promoting self-reliance. And then we have the Youth Task Force representative who will be also sharing what the Global Youth Task Force is all about and their vision. And then lastly, we'll have a Q&A where we just have a platform to discuss, ask questions, make comments, depending on the discussions that we'll have. So welcome all of you to this session. I'm really excited for this meeting and being the first meeting for the celebration. I think it's something that is very wonderful. So welcome to the Southern Africa region team. And today we'll be diving deep on the theme of self-reliance. So each discussion that we are going to make in this meeting, we're going to hinge it towards the theme of self-reliance. So let's hear what the movement has been doing in terms of promoting or fostering self-reliance in the region. So at this point, I see people are still introducing themselves, but let me call upon the Global Secretary to share the keynote for this meeting. Thank you so much. Over to you, Kunjan.
Thank you so much, Yewo, and a big congratulations to the entire team in the Southern region for this. As Yewo said, I'm Gunjan Veda. I have the honor of serving as the Global Secretary for the movement, and I cannot tell you how excited I am today, right? 10 years ago, in May 2015, it was in Southern Africa, in Malawi, the warm heart of Africa, that MCLD began. And so it is only fitting that we kick off our 10th anniversary celebrations with the Southern Africa regional event. So I just want to begin by saying a huge congratulations to each one of us, right? Each one who's been a member of MCLD, a partner, a colleague, a champion. We have come this far because of every single person who believed in what seemed like an impossible vision, right? A different kind of a world. And yet, in 10 years, we have realized pieces of that vision. We have come such a long distance, such a long journey in these 10 years. From starting as a group of 18 INGOs that wanted to think of a different kind of a world to becoming a majority world-led network of networks with over 3,000 local and community-based organizations alongside INGO allies. From moving from a movement which wasn't registered, which was hosted by the Hunger Project, to becoming a movement organization with national associations coming up in 25 countries. All of this has been possible because of one thing, and that is connection. Human connection. That is what the movement has been about, right? And there has been so much, when I think about, I haven't been in the movement for 10 years, right? But when I think about and hear about everything that the movement has done, it is almost impossible to believe so much has happened in 10 years. And that is why self-reliance is also such a fitting start for us. Because all of this, and we'll hear about the different things today and over the course of the next week that we have done together, has happened with so little external resources, right? We are in a world where ODA is shrinking. We are in a world where officially we are recognizing more and more the political economy of aid, the neocolonial nature of money that came in. And everybody is asking, how do we continue to do the work that we want to do, to aspire together for a better world with these constraints? And I believe MCLD has shown that it is possible, right? It is possible because think about the things in the last 10 years. In Malawi, the radio show tackling the COVID hesitation that happened. In Nigeria, reaching 19 million people to stop election violence. Similarly, in Sierra Leone. In Benin, promoting local superfoods. In Kenya, the work with the county government supporting devolution. All of this without very much external support, made possible by the commitment, the knowledge, the ideas, the passion of our members, of the CBOs, of partners, of people who are committed to change, made possible by leaning into the power of collective action. So self-reliance is one of the 4 pillars of MCLD's strategic plan, the other 3 being policy, practice, and solidarity. So in case you were wondering where that theme came from, it came from there. And all of our events are structured around one pillar of our strategic plan, right? So what does self-reliance look like for MCLD? It looks like a lot of things, right? It is domestic resource mobilization, yes. It is thinking about remittances, yes. But it is first and foremost about strengthening the local ecosystems, because that is the only pathway to self-reliance. Resilient, local, strong local ecosystems, where every player in it, be it the government, be it civil society, be it the community leader, be it the youth, has a role to play and is able to fulfill their roles to the best of their potentials. And this requires care, because we all live in a difficult world, right? It's not an easy world. We are faced with so much of traumas, uncertainty, challenges every day. It requires governance, sound governance practices. It requires mutual accountability, because at the end of the day, trust is built on mutual accountability, and trust is the fuel that drives connection, and connection is the fuel that keeps us alive, that makes change happen. So at the end of the day, self-reliance for us is a belief in the agency, in the potential, in the resources of every individual wherever they sit in the ecosystem. But most importantly, it is the belief in what can happen when everybody comes together. So it is a belief in the power of connection, of human connection. The belief on the magic that happens when every individual, right, is part of this process. And that is why I am so glad that today we are also going to hear from our youth task force. Because for centuries and decades, we have been taught that we are not enough, that we do not know. Somebody needs to help us. Sure, we all need to help each other, but the reality is each one of us has very critical resources. We have knowledge, we have wisdom, we have ideas, we have our time, right? And most importantly, we have the connections, the relationships, the influence that we have in our lives. And in MCLD, we have seen this. We've seen how members have pooled together, some offering office spaces, some offering time. That is how we've been able to do everything that we have been done. All of these various things that I talked about, the funding for it, $5,000 at the most, sometimes not even that, right? It has been made possible because we recognize the resource that exists within all of us, within our communities. And that is the pathway to self-reliance. And in a world where we are thinking about how do we function, I believe that offers very important lessons. And so I'm really excited to hear from members, association members today and over the course of the next week on how they have done this, on the lessons that we can take away, on how we can emerge stronger, because we are showing that a different way of doing, being, and thinking is possible. We are that. Think about our structure with the Global Assembly, with members from every national association that we have, right? So different, but showing again the power of the collective, the power when different ideas, experiences, knowledge come together and we lean into that. So with that, once again, just a very, very, very big congratulations to everybody who has been a part of this journey, and to everybody who is new. Join us. Join us, because together we have the power to transform the world. It doesn't matter if policies change. It doesn't matter if resources shrink. If we pull together our knowledge, our wisdom, our creativity, our connections, we can transform the world. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. That was our Global Secretary highlighting where we're coming from and the future that we'd love to see. And one of the key highlights from our point, together we can do it. Let's continue regardless of the circumstances. So at this point, I'll invite the panelists. So let me ask Sarah to just briefly share the screen so that I should introduce to you our panelists for today who will be discussing under the theme Community Perspectives on Fostering Self-Reliance in Southern Africa. So today we have Daniel Kaluzu from Tiritose Foundation, which is a local organization in Malawi, and he has joined us. He will be sharing much on local funding for community-based organization. Welcome, Daniel. And we have Maria Manjate, who is a youth advocate from Mozambique, and she is also a member of the Youth Task Force, and she will be also sharing her perspectives, particularly referring to young people's perspectives on fostering self-reliance. So welcome, Maria Manjate. And then we have Wellington Bakaiman, who is the Executive Director for Sekaupenye in Zimbabwe. He is also someone who is really passionate about community-led development. And he has offered to act as a focal point for MCLD in Zimbabwe, and is also working towards mobilizing other local organizations and community-based organizations in Zimbabwe. Welcome, Wellington. And then we have Sotin Ziwa, who is a national coordinator for Malawi National Association. He's also a very committed advocate for CLD. And we would love to hear more on what they have done as MCLD, which is also a well-established national association. Looking forward to learn from them. And then we have Benedito Machava. Welcome. He is a youth advocate. He's also from Mozambique. He is also a member of the Youth Task Force, and he will also be sharing perspectives of community-based organizations in terms of fostering self-reliance in Southern Africa. So here is our panel. At this point, I'll call upon them to just briefly, in a minute, to introduce themselves further. And welcome to the floor, our esteemed panelists. Maybe just open your mics. So let's start with Sotin Ziwa. You just introduce yourself briefly, and then we start our discussion.
Thank you so much, Yewo. It feels like a few days that we have been in MCLD, but it's a decade. So my introduction is that 10 years, I have been also finding a place in community development. And in Malawi, as a national coordinator, we are celebrating the resilience, even in the process we had to take to become a community of action, a collection, and togetherness. So I'm excited to be on this call. And yeah, let's talk more as we go around. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sotin. Then I pass it over to Wellington. Just in a minute.
Yo.
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much, Yewo, and hello, everyone. I'm really excited to be part of this movement and be able to speak during this meeting. So my name is Wellington Bakaimani. I'm the Executive Director of Simukau Penye Integrated Youth Academy, which is a youth-led organization in Zimbabwe that foster increased engagement and participation of young people in sustainable development. I think I have over 9 years of experience working with the youths. I have traveled around the world, trying to also, reach out and learn from other community development practitioners so that I also improve the work that I'm doing. And I'm excited to have met Yewo, who will then introduce me movement for community-led development, which is something that I think was the missing link in the efforts that I was doing. And I'm happy to join efforts with other enthusiastic development practitioners so that at least we foster and promote community-led development, because we are the people, we are on the ground, and our involvement and pushing for development really is very important for sustainability. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Wellington. Then I pass it over to Benedito Machava.
Hello, thanks, Yewo, and I'm very excited to joining you all, the new ones from the movement for community lead development that are meeting today. My name is Benedito Machava from Mozambique. I coordinate the programs in Aprian. Aprian is a youth-led organization, and for us, it's a pleasure to fund that kind of link where we can amplify our voices to show what we've been doing and how, I mean, what is our experience working with youth, and we are learning from such movement with amazing experience. And congratulations to Yewo, who has been doing a great job here with us. So nice to meet you all.
Thank you so much, Benedito. Then I pass it over to Daniel.
Thank you so much, Yewo. Hello, everyone. My name is Daniel Kaludzo. I'm working with the Gondwe Foundation as a grants officer, specifically with the finance aspect of it. Well, at the Gondwe Foundation, we are an organization in Malawi, non-profit making organization. Our mission is to support inclusive, transparent, and accountable governance. And I'm feeling very excited this afternoon because we are part of this conversation, and specifically because we are actually implementing a shift in the power program, which is promoting localization, locally led development, and local philanthropy. So this is a very good platform for me and my organization to be at, so that we can share with like-minded people. We share ideas, we learn from each other, and see how we best progress. So thank you, and I'm very excited to be here.
Thank you so much, Daniel. And then I pass it over to Maria. Maria. Is Maria on the call?
Yes, yes, sorry. Hi. Hi, my name is Maria Amélia Antônio Manjati from Mozambique. I'm very excited to join in this event. Yewo said I'm your focal point. I am youth advocate. I am a member of Afrian. I work together with Benedito. But until last year, I was focal point in Mozambique for FP 2030, youth focal point. And I was youth advocate from Grasa Machel Trust. I like it working about youth because youth is the development. I think youth is the lives to enhance the dividend demographic. I like this topic, and we will together to work and to develop the MLCD in community. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Maria. So I think this time we can dive into our discussion today just to understand more on your perspectives on fostering self-reliance in Southern Africa. So maybe I start with youth. As a young person, Maria, Can you please share us your experience, or what does self-reliance mean to you in your community or to young people? What does it really mean? You can also just
Thank you.
highlight, yes, as
Thank
young
you,
people.
Eo. Okay, I think self-reliance means the ability to develop sustainably by promoting own resource decision-making, autonomy, and resilience in the face of socioeconomic challenge. This automatic autonomy enables communities to confront adversity such as economic crisis, natural disasters, or social issue with independence and collective strength. I think you have another question for me, but the question is the question when the practice can the government and civil society adopted to give voice to young people in building resilient communities. I suggest one promoting of youth participation space with impactful, tangible, and measurable results. This must lead to meaningful outcomes within the communities where younger people are involved, not only to take part, but involvement of younger people. Two, investment in capacity building and leadership training for young leaders who are involved in their communities, not just those who politically represent a contest they do no fully understand, but youth involved in planning and implementing community projects. Three, encouragement of youth inclusion in public policy. We have more public policy. For Mozambique, we have public policy, we have laws, we have strategies. It's very, very, very beautiful. But the question is, where the youth involvement in these political public strategies and the laws? We need to involve more young people. Um, Four, social innovation project led by community youth. For example, in Mozambique, we have innovating programs well designed for young people, but the question remains is the young people benefiting from government funds to implement innovation in their community. What is their target group? What specific problem does their community face? Where will the project be implemented? I think this question is more important for analyzing this innovation project. What do you do? Why? Why does not result in affect directly the communities? Finally, I think my time is over.
Proceed, please proceed.
Finally, thank you. Finally, the cooperation among the government, civil society organization, and the youth is more important by promoting ongoing dialogue and co-creating strategies for sustainable community development. We cannot function as a nation without alignment between government, civil society, and youth. We are team working together for the improvement of our community. We need work together. We need the same plan. We need the same vision. We need to ongoing together. Uh, this involvement utilizing local resource, promoting creative local autonomy, education, developing life skills in communities, and improving access and quality of basic service are all with active youth participation. We will have youth and community development. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Maria, for that comprehensive narration of what self-reliance means in the perspective of young people. So one of the key points that I got from your discussion is that we should meaningfully engage young people in all development processes, including policy, but not just involve them as tokenistic engagement of young people or just to tick the box. They want meaningful participation. So you should also capacitate young people in different aspects so that they should be able to meaningfully participate in development agendas. So that is a perspective of young people. So as participants in this call, let's make sure that in everything that we are doing in our projects, for them to be sustainable, let's not forget the younger generation. All right, so let's move forward to Daniel. We want to understand in terms of funding for community initiatives or interventions. You know, access to sustainable funding has remained a major challenge for many community-based organizations over the years. So we want to understand from your perspective, what are some of the changes that are needed in funding models that we have for donor practices so that we should better support locally led development and self-reliance in Southern Africa region? So you can just share your recommendations on how the funding mechanisms can be restructured or how CBOs can be the key implementers of development agendas. Over to you, Daniel.
Thank you so much, Yewo. Right, Jose, there are challenges which are perceived from the donor side of view, because they'll always say these people don't have the capacity to report. They have weak monitoring and evaluation systems. They will not be able to bring about, to prove the effectiveness of the investment. So these are perceived from a donor's aspect. So what needs to be done basically is, as donors, they have to shift from imposing interventions. In shifting the power, what we are currently implementing is there are 4 kinds of powers that we want to shift. There's the financial power, where we're talking about as local actors on the ground, they have to be the decision makers. They have to be the decision drivers. Now we're talking about the decision-making power itself. We are implementing a shift in the power where we're saying, as local actors, you need to make a self-assessment to see what are the areas that are weak in your organizations. What do you need support on? And not only are you identifying your weaknesses, but also you have to propose, how do you want to work on those weaknesses? So that decision has to be coming from the ground, all right? In so doing, it means that the people who are making that decision, they will own that decision. And the impact that will be left on the ground will be prolonged. Then we're also promoting the shifting of ideation power, where things should, ideation power, we're talking about the ideas, they should really be locally made. Everything has to come from the ground. As donors, they can just provide resources to say, okay, these are the issues that they need to be addressed. These are the resources. And the narrative power as well. We want to shift that narrative power. Storytelling should come from the local actors, not the INGOs. INGOs should not, or donors, or just to say INGOs or donors should not be the ones dictating, but they should be coming from the ground. They should just provide the resources. So as a way of addressing such challenges, as donors, we need to come up with flexible and accessible funding mechanisms to simplify the reporting mechanisms. For example, you would find that people would be asked to report on, let's say, financial performance for a grant that is less than maybe £5,000. You find that the requirements are equal to someone who's also giving a grant of 50 million. A same template is being applied across. So in shifting the power, we're saying we have to shift away from using a one-size-fits-all. As a local actor has a capacity gap, for example, they have to be treated according to that gap. And as a donor, you don't have to impose issues on them. You don't have to burden them with administrative issues. Lessen that administrative requirement of reporting. And we need to emphasize on participatory decision making. Whatever we're doing as the Tonse Foundation currently, we were working with organizations in Malawi. We specify to say those who are applying for this grant, they have to be local CSOs. And by a local CSO, we're talking about an organization whose initial registration was in Malawi. Oftentimes you find that organizations, maybe initial establishment was outside, but now they have migrated. So they have a kind of power on the market to attract donors, to attract resources. So we are saying this shift in the power, it has to go down to the local actors. So those who are implementing this shift in the power program in Malawi, for example, they are the local CSOs whose initial registration was in Malawi. We are trying to strengthen the capacity of these CSOs. We're trying to strengthen the capacity of CBOs. As the keynote address said, an initial investment, a small investment can do a lot of work. In our program, we started with a catalyst fund where we're giving out grants to CBOs to say, make an assessment, see where you are and what you need. And you'd find that the only thing that they needed, for example, is just to get registered formally. Once that registration was done, we were hearing stories to say, we know we have managed to get funding from other donors because we're now formally registered. So there are some burdens, there are some gaps that CBOs and local CSOs have, which just need a small investment. And once that is done, you find that they are able to do and to go beyond what they wanted to do. So in the donor models that are at play at the moment, the recommendation is we need to lessen the burdens of reporting on CSOs, on CBOs. They need to come up with solutions on their own. We just have to support. In so doing, it means that we're strengthening their capacity because they're able to now make decisions, and the impact that is going to be done by that intervention is going to be long lasting because each and every player along the chain will own to that decision. As the youth representative has just said, people have to engage each and every person at each and every level. If an organization, say for example, a CBO, they have been told to identify their needs, they are going to engage each other accordingly and is going to own that decision. So when they're implementing, it will not just be saying we engaged say for example, the local leaders, and when the implementation is being done, the local leaders are being sidelined. It won't be like that. Everyone is going to be along the way, they are going to travel together, they will implement together, and the impact is going to be far more reaching. It will defeat the test of time. So we are calling on all donors to stand with us as the Tonse Foundation to walk the talk. As we're shifting the power, let's walk the talk. Let's not become the global north within our local nations, because what we are saying is we are shifting the power from the global north to the global south. But if we're not careful, you'd find that the power indeed has shifted from the global north, but in your locality, you are now taking the responsibility of the global north. So let's walk the talk. If we are lessening the administrative burdens, let us lessen the administrative burdens. Let people choose, let people decide, and let people lead. Let's be people-centric in our programming. If an organization comes with their own issue, let them address it the way it is. If it's a reporting requirement, and in shifting the power, let me also say that it's about building trust. As the keynote address said, it's about building trust. So trust is a fuel, indeed, to human connection. So we need to continue discuss. It's a partnership, and in reporting, you can always come up with different modes of reporting, a collaborative mode reporting, for example. Along the way, you keep discussing so that maybe when the quarter ends or it's year end, you won't be surprised. You won't need a 15-page report. You already know what was happening. You only need the final output, then your report is done. So let's walk the talk as people in the philanthropic world. Let's shift the power. Let local people, let local CSOs and actors take lead. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Daniel. So let's put the communities at the center of all development initiatives, including in the funding models that we have, whether domestic or from external funding. Let the communities decide, let them ideate how they want to do the development interventions. So those are some of the key points that I wanted, and funders should lessen the burden on community-based organizations. They should be capacitated enough to drive their development intervention. Let's move to Sotin Ziwa. So from your end, from Malawi, let's hear some of the innovative approaches that you have been using to foster self-reliance in Malawi. Over to you, Sotin.
Thank you so much, Yewo. I'll start by a Malawian saying, which goes, "Mutu umodzi suseza denga." One head does not carry a roof. So my reflection in terms of the approaches I've been using to foster self-reliance, I'll start with my work at Pukira, where we are saying that institutions are failing, local indigenous institutions are struggling to make progress in solving solutions in development. The barriers that they have are that there's systems they have to adhere to, systems that were generated to serve the needs of donors. The systems that are critically persistent, and when you talk about change, they don't change with the change that we are talking about. We can change everything else, but they'll still give you serve the same system. So how can we really simplify the systems for the indigenous institutions, for them to succeed and shift, and then take over the gap as we prepare to shift the power, take over the gap that will be created with a change, for example, in the development ecosystem. The funding paradigm is shifting. Not to be an alarmist, but the question of aid coming to an end is no longer inevitable. So which systems are going to remain and how are they going to help organizational shift? Secondly, we talk about people. African countries, low resource countries, or majority countries have a very youthful population. I was really happy to hear from Maria on the youth perspective on other needs. But when we dig deeper of self-reliance, the development sector in Africa or low resource countries, Southern Africa, Southern Asia, relies on youthful people. The professionals that are coming are youth. So my organization like MasterCard and Marquis and Company project that 40% of world employment will be by young people in the next 10 years. And they'll be from Africa. They are 18 years old. So how can we foster and prepare them to be ready to take action, to take over our places? I'm turning 40 in a few. So I am really concerned that who is going to replace me? So when you talk about self-reliance in community development, we need to develop a pipeline. And I'm happy to see the youth committees that are popping up in MCOD. We need to create a pipeline because we are going to be replaced and the passion that we have is going to go. So when we talk about self-reliance, I'm talking about us having a plan for the future on how things are going to get going. And now, when you talk also, the other thing I'll talk about is one thing I also said in a previous interview, is that development that is taking place, if we are to talk about self-reliance in communities, these economic hardships that are happening globally are hitting hard for the people in the communities. In Malawi right now, we are at a very difficult time. You go to a fuel station, you'll not find fuel. So it means you will not go to the field or do any work. You go to a shop, you not find basic necessities like sugar. Or you get a little bit of money for minimum wage. You will not cover your needs. So how do we structure in self-reliance in a society where now there's deficit for basic amenities for the people. So I'm thinking that self-reliance that is promoted by organizations in MCLD should start thinking about substitutive approaches to what we have been relying on. As much as we have been relying on a lot of imports and exports, people are not going to change behavior, habits, or do more things when they're in deficit. It's the truth that the basic. I was joking someday that when you look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs, where are we currently? Majority of the people, we are not at a certain level where we cannot even consider. For some of us, we cannot even consider to do some other basic things because we are too below. So, if this message of self-reliance is going to land on indigenous people, indigenous community, indigenous institution, we should land with local solutions, with substitutive approaches that are easily repeatable by the people who are there. They are easily adoptable, and they bring the basic change. I always say when they're releasing technology, they release version 1, version 2, and upgrade someone to the next level. So similarly, how can we craft those community-led development initiatives we are doing to shift people with the things that they can relate with, the things that they can manipulate and sustain quickly, because we are in the time we have to substitute. So to close with a saying I opened with, Mutu Mozi Susensadenga, we can only do this if we start to collaborate as decision makers. If we are consistently applying community development approaches in the areas where we are in, together we can quickly accelerate. But others are doing different approaches that are contradicting community development approaches. We are pulling each other. So, we should do it together and coordinate at all levels, donor level, institutions, young people who are the biggest workforce, as well as the people in the political wheel. These are the hidden systems that are there. Let's not talk, but change the skeleton, the base that really drives us. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sotin, for sharing that comprehensive perspective as well. So you are highlighting much on coordination and collaboration as stakeholders. Let's work together to advance community-led approaches, but also we should not work in competition of each other because we're going in different directions. But when we come together, we're going to build self-reliant communities. So now let me pass it over to Benedito Machava to also just highlight some of the challenges that are there among community organizations in fostering self-reliance. Let's hear from Benedito. Benedito, you can open your mic and share some of the challenges.
Yeah. Yes. Thanks. Thanks for this opportunity, and I'll go straight to the challenge that I think that constrain the self-reliant of the communities. I will speak based on our experience working with the communities, working with the community leaders. I first and foremost, I think that one of them is it starts from the top to down. We have that problem of our government, the central, the regional government, and all administrative boards in the government. They depend a lot on the external aid and how that impacts to the communities. The communities, they are not able to take the resource that they have and transform it in opportunity to them to be self-reliant. So we do not have experience in the top that can teach the communities, can teach those in the base how they can make it, how we I include myself on it, how we can make our community self-reliant. And nowadays is something that we cannot avoid to talk about. Even those communities that they've been doing a great job, we are now facing a big problem that is a climate change that we all know about it. Our activities are constrained now because we want to achieve communities in the rural areas, but unfortunately, you cannot transfer the skills to the people in the rural areas because you cannot reach the rural areas. There are no roads because of the climate change. For example, Mozambique is one of the most vulnerable countries in Africa. One of them. We have Malawi, we have Madagascar, but Mozambique is one of them. We, at least once a year, we face a tropical cyclone. So how a community in rural area of Mozambique will be able to receive a training for them to, I mean, the capacity building to those communities, how you will do it, because you cannot go there and you cannot do it, and you cannot do it online because there's no internet connectivity. So that is why it is another challenge. Unfortunately, also the challenge that I can highlight now, based in Mozambique, now in our experience since 2017, we've been facing extremism in Mozambique, terrorist attacks. We're facing, because of that, we're facing a displacement, people going all around, and about those communities that are forced to be replaced in other areas that we consider safe. They do not feel that they belong to those communities because they are from other regions and they have that sense of belonging to the regions where they are coming from, and that increase that vulnerability of okay, and that increase vulnerability in our country. And another challenge that we face a lot, for example, in our I think two of us are speaking now. Okay. Other challenge that I want to highlight now, we are working especially in sexual reproductive health, and what we've been doing is to work with community leaders, because we believe that the way to shift the power is to provide capacity building to those that have influence in the communities. But when you go to the communities like ours in Mozambique, you have to deal with harmful social norms. How you explain the community leaders that such norms are harmful? It's complicated, and sometimes we are not allowed to access some areas in the community. So those people, unfortunately, we cannot achieve them, because even the government, even the people working with the government directly, they also face those challenges. And unfortunately, we will keep providing trainings, we'll be transferring skills for the same people in the urban areas where it's easy to provide those kind of trainings and to transfer those kind of skills. But in the rural areas, you don't have access to all the communities, and unfortunately, that there continue to be one of the biggest challenges to make the community self-led, because they're not receiving the skills that they need to receive to understand how they can change the results that they have in the community, the people in the community, the youth in the community, how to engage them to be the change makers. And without it, we cannot shift the power to those communities. So those are the challenges that we face. And thanks God, we have been trying our best. And I think that even we're not assessing everybody. Those that we're assessing, I believe that we have been doing something that we can be proud of. And the movement for community lead development is one of examples, of course, of what I've been trying to share with you. And thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you so much, Benedetto. You have highlighted some of the key challenges that are hindering community-based organizations or stakeholders to promote self-reliance within communities. One is climate change. We are having climate-related crises year in, year out. I think it's something that it's an urgent call to action as MCRD, as stakeholders, to ensure that we are working towards tackling these challenges. The issues of unrest in terms of peace, instability, terrorist attacks, political tensions. These are also some of the challenges that are hindering development backwards. So I think this is an urgent call to action, but also harmful social norms. We have put approaches and strategies, but we are failing to move forward because of these harmful norms. So if we don't transform these harmful norms, it's going to be hard in order for people to understand the interventions that we're doing. So in our programs, we need to challenge and change these harmful social norms. Thank you so much, Benedetto from Mozambique. Let's move forward to Wellington as we are winding up our panel. We want to hear from Wellington from Zimbabwe. Share us what should be done. We have heard some of the challenges, the approaches, some suggestions in terms of how we should move forward, but we want to have that comprehensive insight from Zimbabwe. What should be done moving forward in order to promote or to foster self-reliance in our region? Over to you, Wellington.
Thank you so much, Yewo, and thank you so much to all the previous speakers. We have actually highlighted very important things. And with my experience working with USID as a youth advisor, I think we have been hearing a lot of sentiments around, shifting of power, around the challenges that Benedetto has indicated. So I'm really excited, to just share a few things to say. Now we understand these things. Where should we go in terms of ensuring self-reliance within the African region? So looking at some of the challenges that have been highlighted, I also foresee opportunities, because the first opportunity is us having movement for community-led development is an opportunity that is bringing together local community actors. So when we come together, we are able to amplify our voices. We are able to understand and have a common vision where if we say we are now moving this direction, we will definitely take that approach. I understand that there is no one size fits all, but having a common vision where small actions that we do at grassroots level lead to attainment of the broader vision. Like in Zimbabwe, I think we are new to this movement, but there have been efforts, trying to also lobby and foster a community-led development. Because we have been working and engaging with community organizations and hearing that there are these international NGOs, these donor community money, but on the ground they also then come and use community-based organization. So in actual sense, it is the community-based organizations that are doing the actual work. But when it comes to support, when it comes to funding, it is the bigger organizations that then come and either sub-grant or just provide activity-based funding, which then create a challenge whereby there is no sustainability, because once that funder leaves that community, it means the project ends, because there is no capacity strengthening or capacity building that happens to the community organization. So I feel going forward, we need to amplify our voices as a movement, where we start to advocate for domestic funding that goes directly to community-based organizations. Then engage funders and international organizations to directly provide financial support, technical support to community-based organizations. Because if a CBO is capacitated, they have the systems, they've got the equipment to execute their duties, they've got the financial resource to actually reach out to the community, they are able to bring out the desired results. And at the end of the day, they will also have some mechanism to sustain the projects beyond the project period. I want to give an example. We have been working with SOS Children's Villages International, where they supported us to train 300 young people on basic ICT. So they asked us what we wanted to do, and we said, no, we need to put infrastructure so that these young people that we are training, after the training, they should be able to utilize the skills that we are giving them. And now in our community, which is in peri-urban community, we have an active and functional ICT hub, which is well equipped with computers and internet, and young people are coming there every day to actually get connected. So this project ended last year, but until now, as an organization, simply because we have been capacitated with the technical expertise, we actually made decision to say we want to procure equipment for the IT hub. And right now, the hub is functional, and this is where we are with my colleagues. I've invited some CBOs to actually come here so that we join to this meeting. So this is what we call, some steps towards self-sustainability and self-reliance when it comes to issues of CBOs. So the other aspect is through our advocacy initiative. It's a process. It cannot happen, overnight. Like right now in Zimbabwe, the president has recently signed the PVO bill, where it's now mandatory for all people or groupings who are actually doing community work or charity work to register as PVO. But the challenge is there is no a template or a framework that suits community-based organization. If you look at the requirements, they are too big for community organization. So we need quite a lot of advocates where we engage these policymakers and our governments locally to say, if we are putting up policies, let's be rational. Let's consider our local actors, because it's like you are closing doors for whoever or whichever group that is thinking, say, in our community, we want to help people, we want to venture into WASH program, we want to help children. So we really need to advocate and make sure that our government understand why is it important to engage local actors, especially when you are developing policy, so that we give our input and they understand, and be able to come up with policies and programs, that create a conducive environment for CBOs. Because when it comes to development, I strongly believe that community-based organizations, they are the foundation, they are the pillar. Once we build the capacity and empower CBOs, they are able to deliver, effective programs. There is what we call low-cost programming. Because I remember when I started this organization, we could do a big program with $200. We can change lives of people with $1,000. But if it's an bigger organization, you travel from the capital seat, calling it to the field where this is the community where people live, the resources that you use by just traveling and allowances and accommodation for field officers might be, a huge amount of money than probably are going to deliver pencils or, to give young people books and stuff. So we need to shift the power, like what the previous speaker said, to say, we need to shift power in terms of financial power, in terms of decision making. So as we are moving forward, our work, I feel like movement for community-led development, we have a great work in terms of advocacy, because we want to change how things are done. So advocacy is very key. And by engaging and mobilizing more members across the region, having a movement for community-led development chapters in all the countries will strengthen and amplify the voice. To say, if we are moving a motion, if we are engaging our governments, we are doing it as a collective. Then that way we will have more power to influence, decision making. Because I believe we have invisible power as CBOs. We are with the people, and the people knows us, the people understand us, and the people rally behind us. I remember when we wanted space to establish a youth center, we just told the youth that we worked with, you know what? We are looking for resources to establish a center that is going to help the youths. But we also want your support to engage with the local authorities, so that when we present our papers and application, the young people who are the key beneficiaries of the project will be able also to stand with us and say, really, we need the space so that this organization can establish a center that is going to benefit us. So as community-based organization, we also need to start to engage the community, bring the community together. I have a system that we use, we call it whole systems in the room, where we bring the government, business community, the young people, the local leaders, the traditional leaders together, so that when we are discussing issues, we are involving everyone, so that everyone can put his or her expertise, resources, and everything that can actually, make us achieve what we want to achieve. So I would want to say, let's move together. And as Zimbabwe, we are committed, to join this movement. We have a very strong network of community-based organization, though we were working, in isolation. And when we learned about movement for local led development, we're so excited. And I told my team, you know what? This is what we were looking for, and the puzzle is complete. So with the support from colleagues from Malawi, Mozambique, South Africa, Zambia, and all other countries and beyond the African region, we are going to push and advocate to make sure that the funders understand the importance of engaging CBOs. Our government understands the importance of engaging community-based organizations. If we do that, trust me, self-reliance will be inevitable, and we will definitely be able to say, oh, look, we have CBOs that have got land, that have got infrastructure. Even if they do not have a running fund, they are able to continue serving their communities. Then lastly, I would also want to urge CBOs to start to think about social enterprise. How can we transition into social enterprises where we can say, as a CBO, we have a project running where we are also generating some income that will help us, to cover administration costs. Because as CBOs, we also suffer brain drain. I want to give example of our organization. We could pick someone from ordinary level in terms of academics. They go through some trainings. We provide platforms for them to learn a lot of things, and they become specialists in different areas. Either is a specialist in M&E, specialist in SRH, specialist in nutrition and stuff. Those international organizations that are funding us, or donors, they actually see human resource, and when they are given offer to say, oh, you're working for CBO, you are getting $200, we are offering you a job where you get 1,300, and you have, company house and stuff, then those people will then go. And what happens to the CBO? You are back to zero, square one. You start to look for volunteers. And it's difficult to get a graduate or someone who is qualified to say, I'm coming to just volunteer here, or I'm coming to work with you and get $100. So for us now to deal with that kind of challenge where, people go to seek, greener pastures and, being employed with bigger organizations, we need to come up with alternatives, solutions, so that we are financially sound to be able to remunerate our staff, to be able, to put up good working conditions for our staff. And also be able to invest in our systems. We need to have proper systems. Like the previous speaker said, international funders, they don't want to give us money because they have these perceptions to say they don't have the capacity to report, they don't have the capacity to do that. But like I said, those bigger organizations, they come on the ground, they work with us, we produce results. They go, they report our results, but when they report our results, we are not in the picture. So we need to invest in ourselves as CBOs to make sure that our systems are strong, in as much as we are also advocating for them to listen to us, to understand us. We also need to improve a little bit so that we're able to match and meet halfway, so that at least we want resources, they want people who do the work. So if we meet halfway, then we are able to foster sustainable development and self-reliance amongst our CBOs. Thank you very much, Yewo, and thank you very much everyone for listening.
Wow, thank you so much, Wellington, for that powerful message, but also the insights that you have shared among us. One highlight that I've gotten from your sentiments is we need also to invest in domestic resource mobilization as civil society organizations, but also keep on improving ourselves in order to foster self-reliance in our region. Thank you so much, and I would like to thank all the panelists for joining this call and sharing your experiences, your skills, your knowledge. I think this has been very insightful, and we appreciate you guys for sharing and for joining. At this point, allow me to pass over to Jacob Pili to proceed with the rest of our program. Thank you so much, team. Over to you, Jacob. And our panelists, feel free to relax now. Thank you.
Once again, thank you very much, Yewo, and our honorable panelists. You've done a very good job. We have really enjoyed the session. You have tackled so many important areas and strategic areas. I know we have a lot of questions. We are looking forward to having a session where we'll be asking questions and interacting further. So hang around, don't leave our panelists. We still love you. We still want to talk to you. So please stay with us. At this juncture, allow me to introduce myself once again. I am Jacob Pili. I work with the Civil Society Organization Malawi. I am a member of movement for community-led development in Malawi. So I'm also your co-host today. I know you're following the program. We are supposed to have the coordinators share the achievements. Thereafter, we'll have a representative from the Youth Task Force, and then we're going to have a plenary session. But before I do that, I wanted to say that it's been 10 years of movement for community-led development, and we are still counting. At this juncture, we would like to reflect on key achievements, of course, just some, because they're numerous. We're going to hear from our coordinators from Malawi and Zambia respectively, but before I give the floor to them, I would like to quote the Global Secretary. She said, "Each one of us has very critical resources, and we need to help one another in order to attain the intended goal." As I speak right now, just tell yourself that you have very critical resources that we need to achieve our intended goal as the MCLD. In addition, one of our panelists, Daniel Kaluzu, hinted on one important point on community voice. Let the community be given space to voice their concerns. I would like to give you a very short and brief example of the things that we're discussing about in Malawi. There is one community where we had a partner who went there to construct pit latrines in that particular community. They observed it as a need. And then they went forward, constructed a lot of pit latrines in that village. And then they reported back to their partner to say, we have constructed a lot of them, and we believe that we have resolved the issue or the gap that was there in that particular community. So after some months, they went back with the donor to appreciate the impact of that project. only to realize that all the latrines that they constructed, a majority were not being used. They were still fresh. And then they were puzzled to say, what is going on? Is this really impactful? So when they went back to do another survey, they found that that was not a big problem. The issue was to do with Kasha. They needed to raise awareness with the communities on hygiene and sanitation. It happened in one of the communities in the southern region of Malawi. So what we're discussing here are not just concepts. They're things that are really happening on the ground. So I just wanted to share with you that one. So at this juncture, because of time, I would like to give the floor to the coordinator for Malawi, Mr. Sotinziwa, to share with us key achievements. As I earlier alluded to, then there are just many, but maybe just a few that he can manage to share. Allow me to welcome you, Mr. Sotinziwa. Thereafter, we'll have Milan Chura from Zambia. Mr. Sotin, over to you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, indeed, the achievements for Malawi are many, and I would say I'll recognize the members that are here and those that are not here for sharing what they have been doing. So, as a movement in Malawi, we recognize we have a lot of new members. We have reached a big number of about 136 members. Some of them, majority of them are CBOs. So that is a big achievement on our end. And we managed to mobilize ourselves really to become a registered institution. But now we moved a step further where we are now considering going deep by setting up regional chapters. This will reduce our cost of operation in the northern region, central region, and southern region. I don't know if the slide is moving, but maybe Yewo is going to move. Yeah. Okay, if there is any content. Yeah. So I'll share these successes for a collective movement. The successes that we highlight are from our members who are using methodologies for community-led development in the daily work. So Yewo in Kadabe is one of the vibrant members in the movement for community Malawi national called Malawi chapter. So the communities there saw their need, they assessed their own needs in terms of what are the barriers to access to health, what are the barriers to access to markets. So as I said earlier, the grand landscape is constantly shifting. People are taking things in their own hands. People are mobilizing resources in terms of physical bricks and also resources in terms of finance that they bring together and construct the social services that they need. So in Yewo, in Katabe, you will see community build a bridge and model bricks for a classroom block. Just to give you a picture, local cash and labor contributions reflect strong self-reliance in this case. Just to give you a picture, when the government tries to build a school in rural communities, it costs about, there's a standard cost for
Can we all hear Sotin?
No, we lost him.
Yeah, seems we've lost him. Let's wait for a few seconds. Are we following though? He highlighted on a number of achievements so far. Sotin, let me know when you're back. He talked of the membership increasing in Malawi in terms of CBOs. He talked of being registered as an entity, as a separate entity in Malawi, and also considering setting up a regional chapters. And then he talked of a partner Yewo in the northern region of Malawi, in Kadabe district, where they built a bridge and modded bricks for a classroom block. So it's just emphasizing on the achievements that we're attaining so far in terms of self-reliance. I think that's where he stopped. I don't know if you're back, Sotin. Is he back yet?
No, he's not yet back. Maybe we can proceed to Zambia.
Switch
Then
to Zambia.
yes, and then see.
If I will still have enough time, I'll give the floor back to Sotin. For now, allow me to welcome Melan Chirwa, our national coordinator for Zambia. Melan, take the floor. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon to everyone. Good evening, wherever you're tuned in from. I would like to share our experience. We as an organization, People's Process on Housing and Poverty in Zambia, we're also celebrating as well 20 years this year. And most of the work that we've been doing and being a part of the community-led development movement resonates with us. And so being a member of MCLD was just a natural way to move forward. So I think we can move on to the next slide. I'll share with you what our principles are, and I think you will see that they do resonate with MCLD. So one of our principles is poor people should be at the center of their strategies and processes in terms of development, and also fostering, looking at poverty reduction. And we also say what works for the poor works for everyone. So we always say that if you make bread cheap for poor people, it will be cheap for everyone. And another principle we say is that poor people have resources, and they are resources within themselves. So I think that is key to our work. I think we can move on to the next slide. I know I only have 5 minutes. So we start with savings, and one of the most important things that is the backbone of the community groups is that community members are not mere beneficiaries of development, but they come to the table with something in hand and not just waiting for external resources, but looking within themselves. And through their savings, they're understanding the problems that are facing their communities, and also looking at solutions. Can move on to the next slide, please. Okay, so I think we heard from the earlier discussions where we're talking about where data is collected from communities, and they're not recognized. So through our processes, we believe that communities should lead the data collection process. Yes, we partner with authorities and with academia, but we believe that communities should be at the center of the data collection process, that they should be able to own their data, understand their data, and use that data to be able to engage with the various duty bearers to ensure that their priorities are taken into consideration. And also they can plan around whatever data they collect. They understand what they need on the ground, and they're able to plan and engage with the. We can move on to the next slide. Okay, yeah. And so it's important that we look at issues of advocacy. So once you have data, you're able to then speak to your governments, speak to other stakeholders, and we look at changing policy and practice. So like for issues of access to land, you find that there are policies that are out there that say, okay, 50% of land will go to the women, but we're not addressing the issues of intersectionality. Like you can be a woman, but you're poor and you're not able to access the land, or you may have disability or be marginalized. So we have to look at the various policies that are there and ensure that policies are responding to people's needs, and ensuring that communities are heard and they can speak up on their own behalf. think we can move on to the next slide. And then another area we look at is the issue of telling the stories from the lens of the communities. Sometimes you enter communities and the only information or data that is collected is the negative side. Say, oh, poor people are lazy, poor people are dirty, poor people do this. But if you understand and you're within the community and the lived experience is shared through the lens of the communities, we will understand that communities are resilient, they're hard workers, they're the people that build our roads, they're the people that take care of our children, they're the people who feed the nations, and yet sometimes the story is not told according to how they should be viewed. And so through our work and the Know Your City TV, so apart from collecting the hard data, we also have to tell the rich stories that are behind the people. I think we can move on to the next slide. And then we also look at issues of working together. We believe that communities should work together. And so we have exchange programs where communities are learning from each other. There's a lot of rich knowledge and skills within communities, and communities can work together, exchange that knowledge, and transform lives. Next slide, please. Okay, so we're also changing the narrative that women can also do jobs that men can do. So like construction, they get involved in different work. And there's a slogan we have where we say vitenge kusogolo, meaning women in front. And then we used to say men behind, Mamuna Kumbuyo, and they were like, no. But now we say chipi chipi, the men by our side. So we're also looking at issues of gender and saying we are unapologetic about women being in the forefront, but we're saying that we also want champions among the men who will support what women are doing. We can move to the next slide. Okay. Yeah, this is just showing some of the work that the women can do as well. We can move on to the next. And these are some of the activities that the women do. They have a green space. They've been doing sack gardening, like responding to their needs. The issue of space within communities, what can we do? And so they look at issues of livelihoods, issues of food security. How can we improve that? And communities can do that from the knowledge and skills that they have. And the next slide, and I shared this last slide, which shows you that through the work that we've been doing together with communities, you can see they have been able to build houses, improve access to water, sanitation. And so we can do transformative things with communities, and communities have the strength, they have the power. And being part of MCLD, I think we are all learning from one another, and this body movement brings us all together with one spirit, and we know we can make a difference. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Melan. I think for the sake of time, just briefly, she tackled on a few achievements, including savings and loans groups that are very key to development according to the context that she has shared for Zambia. That's one area that they also focused on. We have data collection that just reminded me about what we believe in social science, that the data is the factual information that is used for decision making. So that exercise is very important in our context as the community-led development champions. So it's something that we can also learn from our colleagues from Zambia. We have advocacy, giving platform for community voices, telling stories, letting the communities be given platform as well, and then changing the narrative and the transformation. Those are some of the key areas that Milan has tackled. So we are running out of time. I really just want to make sure that we manage time at this juncture because we have plenary session. I would like to welcome Caroline Kandawire, who is going to be speaking on behalf of the Youth Task Force. I know so many members were looking forward to hearing about the Youth Task Force. So this is the time now. Let's pay attention as we wait for the plenary session to share our views as well as interact further. Thank you so much. I give you the platform, Caroline. Caro, are you there? Caroline Kandawire?
Oh, hi. I'm here. Sorry, I was trying to unmute. Slight challenge, but I'm here now.
Thank you very
Can you hear
much.
me?
I was just trying to welcome you. We give you platform to talk about Youth Task Force. What is it about? What are you guys doing as a task force? So feel free, go ahead.
All right. Thank you so much for this great opportunity. My name is Caroline Gandawide, working with Center for Education, Promotion and Advancement for the Rights of Adolescent Mothers, which is a youth-led and young women-led organization based in Zomba, Malawi. So our sole purpose as the Youth Task Force for MCLD, it is actually to integrate youth perspectives in the work of MCLD. We also ensure that youth voice is represented to bridge the gap, but it is represented in the MCLD, and also we ensure that we should bridge the gap between MCLD and youth networks. Usually, we are always saying that we are working towards having meaningful inclusion of youth in each and every programming. Now, to ensure that that is very effective, that's why we have the Youth Task Force. Our key issues, our objectives is to identify key issues facing in their home countries and potential advocacy points for local communities. For this, we are looking at so what are the issues that young people are facing in a particular home country, but rather we should come together as a network to ensure that we should advocate together and develop one voice. We are also ensuring that we fostering the partnerships and sharing information, mentorship, and resources. Usually, we have heard in platforms that we're being told that as young people, you cannot lead some of these initiatives because you're not there yet, you do not have the capacity. So as this task force is there, it is there to bridge that gap so that we should ensure that we should exchange advices, learn from the Generation X as the Generation Z, so that we should ensure that we're working together to deliver. We also ensure that the perspectives of youth, particularly those that are planning to work in the global development and humanitarian sectors, are amongst us. And also we ensure that those that in the special populations, they're also incorporated in the programming of the MCLD. So this is actually a global youth task force that is there, and we're ensuring that we all the young people that are working that are serving the youth should be a part of it. And we are calling upon young people to join us in this task force by reaching out to the lead, the youth task force lead, which is Yewo Gondwe. So Yewo, you can put your contact so that the young people can reach out to you and share information so that we can move together. As we always say, for the youth, there's nothing for the youth without the youth. So let's ensure that we're working together. Thank you so much, Jacob. I know we're against time, so we can go for the plenary. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Caro. There is nothing for youth without the youth. Thank you very much. Sarah, I would like to go through quickly the slides for the achievements for Malawi. Would you please share the slide for Malawi? Sarah, are you there? Because Sotini has not yet joined, I just wanted to quickly go through the achievements for Malawi. Okay, we might have internet issues. Maybe Sarah is not around too. But otherwise, I would like to thank all the speakers, beginning with the Global Secretary, the panelists, even our coordinators and the youth task force representative for all your contributions and experiences that you have shared. Indeed, we are winning. At this juncture, I would like to open the floor for questions and answers. Please feel free to ask questions and even share your contributions. Sarah's just shared the slides. I don't know. But we might just proceed with questions and answers because of time. Actually, I quickly browsed through the same and I shared when I was summarizing Malawi's achievements. So I'll proceed with questions and answers, and I open the floor. Let's please share. Did you enjoy the session? What is your take home? What is your takeaway? Any questions? There is a hand from John. Would you please go ahead?
Yes, hi. I had the great privilege of being in Malawi for launching MCLD. We also we had speakers the previous few days in South Africa, from Zimbabwe, from the other countries represented here. And it's been so inspiring to hear everyone so deeply committed to the principles of community-led development. I just want to thank everyone and congratulate everyone. And I'm just delighted to have gotten to be with you today.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Daniel?
Yeah, thank you very much. I think firstly, I just wanted to say thank you to all the speakers today. There's a lot that I take home from the different countries and what the platform is doing. But I just wanted to also furthermore ask, what are we looking at as a platform to say in the next maybe 5 years, what are we looking forward to achieving, and how are we looking at putting the resources together to achieving that?
Thank you so much. Thank you very much, Daniel. That's a very important question. I know our panelists, the members of MCLD, are going to tackle that one. And it's a very important question that will also enlighten us all in terms of how we align our activities towards that vision. Any other hands? You may lower your hand, Daniel. Okay. Allow me to ask Yewo and Tim, even those who have an idea. The question is, in the next 5 years, what are we intending to do? What do we really want to achieve? How do we plan in terms of resource mobilization? That was the question. Anyone to tackle that one?
Kunjan, are you willing to tackle that one?
Sure. I can talk a little bit from the global perspective, and then maybe, yeah, well, you can take it forward from the Southern Africa one.
Sure.
So thank you, Daniel. That's an excellent question. We are a movement, right? So what we do over the course of the next 5 or 10 years is determined with our members. So for the last 1 year, we've been in the process of strategic planning for 2025 to 2029. And through this 1 year, we've gone through a series of consultations. Association members have come together to discuss what should our strategies and our focus be going forward. And we identified 4 pillars to that strategy. And actually, what you see, the celebrations are designed around those 4 pillars. So what is it that we are focusing on over the next 5 years? We are focusing on practice, policy, solidarity, and self-reliance. Now, these are obviously very broad, generic terms. In practice, We have always, as MCLD, worked together to co-create tools, to co-create systems, right? We have learned from each other. We have shared the knowledge. But what we are specifically going to also do alongside all of that in practice is have a renewed focus on community mobilizing and organizing, recognizing that the real strength for resilience and self-reliance comes when communities are mobilized and organized. In the policy domain, we have always, MCLD has always, in various countries and at the global level, between our national associations and secretariat, we have always done a lot of policy advocacy, whether it's on locally led development, community led development, visibility for CBOs, on devolution, different things at the country level, right? But the renewed focus on the policy for the next 5 years for us is on accountability. Because we can advocate and get policies, but if they aren't implemented and followed, right? We can have commitments, and we've had commitments, but if they are not followed, it's no good. So accountability will be a renewed focus under the policy domain for us over the next 5 years. Solidarity, because we recognize that the only way to transform a system is coming together. So under solidarity, we have 2 specific focuses for the next 5 years. One is to continue to work with different networks around the world, because wherever there is an alignment on values, because it needs all of us, as Sotin said earlier, right? One person cannot carry the roof. The second strategy for the next 5 years under solidarity is a renewed focus on diversity and inclusion. Just like we heard from the Youth Task Force, right? We will continue to have these initiatives for very intentional inclusion of different groups of people across. And finally, on self-reliance, our strategy has 3 components to it. One is, earlier we heard, I think it was Wellington who talked about how do we also need to strengthen ourselves. So having very strong processes in place to reflect our values and principles and ensure mutual accountability through them. That's part of self-reliance. The second self-reliance component for us going forward is focusing on care. Because if we are not okay, we cannot do this work. If our CBOs and their members are not okay, they cannot do this work. If community members are not okay, they cannot mobilize and organize, right? So that's the second component that we have under self-reliance. And the third component that we have under self-reliance is resource mobilization, but domestic resource mobilization, and looking for avenues of mutual resourcing. So I hope, Daniel, that answers your your question, but those are our strategies that have emerged from this collective strategic planning process that has been going on. And in fact, over the next week, as you go through each of the events from the different regions, you will hear more about these strategies because every event is geared around one pillar.
Thank you so much, Kunjan, for highlighting that. Maybe just to add as well, in terms of the Southern African region, as you have seen today, we only have 2 national associations who are well established. And for us is to also see the movement grow, but also spread into the other countries. We want to have Zimbabwe with a well-established national association, which will come together in advocating for community-led approaches. And we want to also see growth into the whole region, where we are able to also conduct regional advocacy together as a movement. So that's also one of our aspirations in the next 5 years. We would love to expand, but also capacitate our communities to be able to understand these CLD approaches, but also be able to implement them on their own and on all development initiatives. So like Malawi and Zambia, we have these associations. We are still calling out for other members who are committed to advance this agenda to join these national associations where together we are conducting joint initiatives to push this forward. Thank you so much. Over to you, Jacob.
Thank you very much, Yewo and Kunjan, for the responses. Really enlightening. We thank you for that. Daniel, I can see your confirmation that your questions have been tackled. Do we have any pending issues, any questions as we wind up our plenary session?
Yes.
Tim?
Hello, everyone. My name is
Yeah.
Jim Kamara, and I'm from the Gambia. And I'm truly honored to be part of this important meeting. As someone deeply committed to grassroots development, I would like to ask, what strategy plans does your organization have to engage with and include the Gambia in its movement for community-led development initiative? Thank you.
Thank you very much, comrades. That's an important question. We talked of Mozambique, we talked of Zimbabwe, we talked of Zambia, we talked of Malawi. What strategies have you put in place? How do you intend to include our colleagues? So, Yewo, would you quickly tackle that one? Or Kunjan?
For sure. So the goal is to be in each and every African country. And we have regional coordinators in place. For the Southern Africa region, you can reach out to Yewo at mcod.org. And for East and West Africa, we also have coordinators there who are working tirelessly to also mobilize people who are committed like you. So in the West, we have Pascal, who is here. You can also reach out to him at Pascal at mcod.org. In the eastern part of it, we have Steve at mcod.org. So we are really committed to ensure that each and every country is sorted. So if you are in the Southern Africa, please reach out to me. If you're in the West, I've seen Kunjan dropping emails. Let's keep in touch to ensure that we get you on board. Thank you so much.
Jacob, if I can
Thank you
very
very much. Gunjan, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, just very quickly to say that at MCLD, we genuinely believe that we work with what is there and we build on what is there. So, whichever country you are in, right, if you're a part of a network and if these values resonate with you, if you want to be a part of the movement, as Yewo said, reach out to our national coordinators. We don't always need to create a new association. Sometimes we work with existing associations because there are local networks. And remember, our goal is not duplication. Our goal is strengthening and becoming more inclusive and more powerful together. So I just wanted to say that, absolutely, as Yewo said, reach out to our coordinators, but also inviting networks who are here to be partnering because we don't want to reinvent the wheel. We don't need new networks in countries where there are networks. We just need to find ways that we can work together to strengthen our voices on the values that matter to us.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I just wanted to remind all the members that you should check our chat box. The emails there of all contact persons. So please check the chat box. If you miss anything, at least get one email and then you contact the contact person so that you get more information on what you may inquire. You may need to inquire. One last chance. Anyone with a question or a comment before we wind up our plenary session? Okay, so there is no hand. Mbakulo has a hand. I give you 30 seconds.
Yeah,
Please
thank you,
come forward.
Jacob.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you very much, Jacob. I don't have a question. I just have congratulatory messages. I'm calling in from Uganda, and I wish to congratulate you on the celebration. This is the first celebration we've had as MCLD. So I wish you a very, very good day. Congratulations and well done.
Thank you very much. That's very important. It just reminds us that we're gathering here to celebrate the whole of this time that we have been existing. So I thank you so much for that. Because of time, I know we still have different platforms where we will continue interacting. We have other upcoming meetings where we're still going to learn from one another. Let us make sure that we put it a priority, the things that we have learned from this particular celebration meeting. I thank you so much for giving me the platform to moderate, as well as for all your contributions. At this juncture, I would like to invite Yewo to give us closing remarks on behalf of the was supposed to be the director, Yewo. But otherwise, I thank you once again and I give the floor to Yewo. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Jacob. So I will speak the closing remarks on behalf of the board chairperson for Malawi National Association, Sekan, who was supposed to provide those remarks, but she just left because of internet challenges. So I would like to thank all of you for joining, all the speakers for being with us and sharing your insights, your experiences, and this has really been helpful. I appreciate your time, but also the members for joining from across the regions. I think you joining in this call has been also very supportive. We appreciate you guys from across the regions. And I would also want to thank the Secretariat team who joined in coordinating this meeting to be fruitful. I thank you so much for your support, all of you. Cheers to us. And I would also love to thank John, who is the founder of MCRD, and he's also here on the call. Thank you so much for founding this beautiful movement. And the members here are committed to push, but also to work to advance this agenda and work together collectively in order to achieve the common goal that we are pushing for. So thank you so much. Kudos to you, John. And I'm seeing here Sarah has just also shared activities that are upcoming. We are still continuing celebrating the 10th anniversary for MCOD. And on 23rd, we have West Africa who will be discussing on the theme practice. So save the dates to join. We have on 27th May, the Latin American Caribbean also sharing on solidarity. And then on the 28th, sharing on policy, the East Africa region. Please save the dates and make sure you register to participate in all these events to learn from other regions as well. And then last year, we'll have a global celebration where will be all the regions across on the 29th, where we'll be celebrating these successes that we have seen, the key achievements. I think this has been very great to listen from different speakers. So let's save the dates to join this celebration and also plan ahead in these tough times. How are we coming together to advance our goal? And lastly, I would love to also just encourage all the members who have joined here. I know some are members of MCLD, some of you are not members. Please make sure you become a member in the national associations or in the regions. Let's work together, but also let's mobilize the youth to join the youth task force. This is also a powerful structure for MCLD that is mobilizing young people. Please, let's make sure that they are not left behind. They're on top of the game as well to own this agenda. So thank you so much to all of you. If you may allow me, at this point, I'll just ask you to open your videos and your mics so that we celebrate together. So we just celebrate with just a cheers to MCRD, and then we'll close our session.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers, everyone.
Yes, everyone. It was good to have you here.
Well done, my friend Yeri.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations, yo.
It was
Thank
such
you.
a powerful session.
Yeah.
Thank you so
Thank you
much.
very much, everyone. Thank you very much.
Please come to us tomorrow, West Africa.
Yeah, we are there. All right, yeah. Thank you, Zikomo. Thank you.
Zikomo.
Congratulations, yo. Bye-bye.
Zikomo Zambia team.
Thank you.
Zikomo Malawi, Zikomo Mozambique, Zikomo Zimbabwe, Zikomo all over the world. Thank you, thank you.
Thank you, guys. See you soon.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Tomorrow
Bye,
in
everyone.
Africa. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Please don't forget tomorrow.
Yes.